for the memory near the dasso was some sat the michapo coco when yam panso to say me what that's what dia we need that one so the table time what that's in and naso and for we into the assy when yank upon the tiasi we didn't even share some predias and we limber grass nipa bestro na when you should cry na ye chewasi need your name who bunko to jack I said yamedasi. Senior Cassia to me, but dead in Tino, and so check the brave that also Kai baby Awufino. Yachida would do see be fear and so what down with Chino. The vampire when Sabna Kawodia with yes to Dimo over the bomb. So I know the Babanama Wabamu. Dina Pintinama Wakumet. There were the new Tunani Yameso Adina Dipuano. So I know the Babanama Wabamu. Dina Pintinama Wakumet. Looking for someone to take your sorrows all away, one to hold you tight and say everything's gonna be okay. Kai sabra will pray now, wamani huna runeya, and yet the night to the trial. Hold on to your faith, there will be a brighter day. Brighter day, brighter day. Onamikuma, onzesi for breakfast. There will be a brighter day, brighter day, brighter day. Onamikuma, onzesi for breakfast. Can I say, Musa, when you're not here, one in Remo, and then Angusha never banded to assume Yenu, which never come in Mupuni boom, Fanny Jeff Piano, Sika Wupentina Wusi, you piano pay a sieno. Via say Japadia, what that's an inti Yanko Pansi, Sikaya Pentian, Christopher Guanyanto Brassi, was a Yanko Pon, yes, and Chanena meant to us, Bunya Fons and Chanena Sabodasotias.
Sunday obedi ekano osibonia yefo senchene ni se wode so tiase ena ye Tuesday ye the radiase se wa mana wotwefofo akọ apro ababeto yen adofo abusua tiefo ye da obibia se eda trade ampon so se wahwe ye nyina ye nso asade ye ba abehie ebie
Inshira the wakoma nenye usika e Christopher
o se enhira ene wakoma enye usika
wonu ankasa be hia obede be pop
se moja edi emu afusane na se meni umie no ye de sote atiasefo asasi so e kasa asedankoto na enka erade. We welcome you once again to Life Matters, ABRABO NSEM on Hope for Life Radio. So the sky is the limit. And I have a teaching komobi kati kakra about parenting, kati about one so say be a wo enema wo nya for the wo nya from parents wo impact and in a way will transfer to your kids. And no mun na behwe because enema bi o ho ayesua ye peke say yes you be your parent ye desane money be share your mother to aso without even knowing say baby aye peke no say yes say ne enye eno enum nkomo na me no mienu ye ba bedi because parenting is one big issue and it titru utu kwan wo raise akola wo fie wo tete wo ba niam bi wo bepese akola ne beye niam bi wo ho a wo de ne toto societal standards niam bi wo you see obi abeye bi we na eko eba school obi apese ne ba cambrofo ade a wo na wo pese akola ne ya na obi nti na wo pese wo ba ye bi brighter day. Meda wasi biom se brebia wunya bre ene edi sa dwuman yakopon hira na feedback so amode maye no yakopon enhira mo because I know timi me yetutu dwumadie no e de niema hihye maye ne yie se de be ya da bia yebetima somwo kwan a yenyina yebetimi a benefit so and the topic ni breaking the parental cycles you didn't know you inherited and it may be who go through one kasa as a person. There are some wounds, there are some things. When you're free, various places out tonight, but then you focus on the ones you got from home, about parenting partner. So when who say, which man recognizes our name, dealing with them, what is hard in be so better to woman. Nebeyan to so You say yourself 1% or say generations are. The here say when your family ana enkola bi wom no de ahye o mase because odi kan say sa ankrofo na adwen a ana say o mindset no e change a o be transfer e be from generation to generation because beliefs are me wo eno na me de betete me ma sa na me ma so de betete o ma bi kono niam betima sesa akola bi o ho a ono a be find or be fall in love with another thing no fall off then some of those parental cycles no na ye ba betwetwe ho komo
Niji name wubunko to Jaka Senya Memedasi. Senior
yɛada nyame ase ɛfiri sɛ nyɛ obiara na anya ne sei nneɛma pii na ɛkɔ so baa me ne wo mmienu yɛde so te ase yɛde so home nti yɛka sɛ twɛdi ampa onyankopɔn aseda nka wo din bio ɛnso hwɛ so deɛ nenam mu saa deɛ yɛkan nyinaa ka ho and this is a big disclaimer ɛnyɛ sɛ bi a sɛ bi yɛba abɛso paeawofoɔ anaasɛ yɛde ɔmo anim ɛbɛyɛ fam wɔ kwan biara so now that is not the intention na mmom no sɛ nneɛma bi wɔ hɔ a yɛpeke free ɛyɛ parents who a anim sɛ wei ɛmboa anaasɛ na nyɛ ne kwan sɛ yɛ so yɛtumi de tete yɛ mma anaa foforɔ a ɛbɛn a saa nkɔmmɔ no na yɛba abɛdi nti mesrɛ woyɛ maame woyɛ papa woyɛ agya woyɛ nana wotie a nyɛ sɛ de mapa a wɔabɛto so na sɛ bi yɛba aba abɛso pa mo.
hold on to your faith. There will be a brighter.
There will definitely be a brighter day. Enti adɔfoɔ ne abusua yɛba abɛwura dwumadie na mu sɛdeɛ mekaeɛ no nneɛma bi wɔ hɔ a wote sɛ adeɛ wei deɛ wo a woyɛ a wohu sɛ na wei deɛ mefa firi me papa hɔ wei deɛ mefa firi me nana hɔ yɛ nana mo na tete yɛn wei deɛ mefa firi me nana wo wei me maame and there are beautiful gardens a almost watete ma ɛno bɛma yɛhu the parenting and the parenthood part sɛbi ɛnyɛ parenting nko ne deɛ wakyɛm awoba obi wɔ hɔ a ɔdɔ a ɔda ne di kyerɛ nkurɔfoɔ ma ɔdɔ a ɔde tete nkurɔfoɔ ne ade no that person is a parent no two ways period no two ways about that ti yɛnɛ mesrɛw ɛnyɛ sɛbi wankasa wo kyɛm nyɛ bi and so many ways a wobɛtumi aform a family and ɛtumi de abusua baako na ɛyɛ awoɔ through marriage, through adoption. There are a whole lot of ways you can get into that state. And it's all when say and this even goes out to caregivers, including babysitters. Obi owa akwantuom oni adaje to where my babysitters cry na tete ne manyina ma no or the ormuko jano pa obekwa kwaji oma just enyumre be 4-5 awakwa adwuma ebi kra ma almost sleepy over you are the next morning. And this very topic, we are not just focusing on parents, but it cuts across caregivers. So she will be, especially in Kola, so they become babysitters and nannies. We munina so a common. The kind. I thought that said they make no we be out to say I hear my mom's voice, my dad's voice, my grandma, my guardian, my babysitter voice through their mayor. By Bia Sebi now it's not with her wisdom, but they are way and you're good. And tiene ye babe unpack that parenting scripts now. Yenye yani chusu ye, but it came along with us. Say I know na the first unit of socialization you fall into. That socialization unit no entity be unconsciously ye peke ye de ye de kɔ yɛnim ɛwɔ abrabom ebi a okra be will interest you to know say ade we kra I didn't know say na me yes ade no until say obi be catch you say ominia this is how you behave we dey say we you we dey say we and pempi ye ka ba ayana ye overlook it ye my example be to say yelling when overwhelmed to obi a parent or to tia kola or tiam and to use this akwala mom no me are connected with the child before correction no I quite to say yelling it comes with threats usually especially where we are from bibi na wa he betian ma I go home when you na bedwane parent bi o ho a onim say wo jawa obeye de ope nti atiatia na ye part of it that doesn't mean say oba na ya dia say bi hye ne kutupa na menka Yababa and also omo training omo in a way people feel like almost spoil omo because omo ntiatia omo mankola na ye de omo pe na san kola na be nyina be a problem because omo go through any tough times yeah. No. I know you're withholding affection as tough love because of if you say oh say may you so affectionate towards my kids they wouldn't be tough and tough love for example ne papa is soldier ni and now say or any of those military groups. It could be Navy, it could be Air Force, it could be fire service, it could be anything. Till who say or this strictness, need discipline, training or community to any be befie at the run the money my beboa more in a year. To baby, I also apply no crabby here, say, obetred do kakra, who's an eye also to me train it tough. Oh, and now we expect perfection or obedience over connection. Ta kola bi o ha che say you bet tian expertise akola ne be perfect. It is exams no ya. Even crowd chat 8/10 and the yam sheshe no. Because all the coffee the question is I don't know when you're 10/10. Or you're 9/10 crown yam sheshe no. And the main thing in here about did you understand what you were taught? How can you apply this knowledge in real world? Then I'll be to media say now only a colano be engage. That is the connection part. Obit ma open up to you because when your time at the mano. Make I say bra susua. Sabi baby or cry just say o papa kunya o say the cotton Maybe oh ho ni ho papa kunya de na baby or tina no uni that moral right to sit there. And I say we are distant from papa mo. You who are you throw mo see you that connection say oh my papa we able to bond be a me mama to me call me to me kak near my channel to actually more pempi no we gravitate towards the mothers to be near to me no mama count to me no papa count but what to me a your mother a share whether your bow your bema but father side now we feel like hey I did be okay and what to me calling them anymore yeah. So that fear, yes, that presence is important because our father role, father figure will fear it changes a lot of stuff. We are not disputing that fact. But to the extent that there is no connection between you and the child, they are just yelling fear. No. And we don't have to dismiss emotions. That is also another example boy, mommy, oh, Jai, you are fine. Jai, you're soon be okay. And then I will soon now, your bear mommy soon. Boy, no crab about with gender roles. And also, yeah, another thing we will look into that. Another thing, so yeah, something like parenting from fear or shame. Obi wɔ hɔ a ɔno ara no ehu wɔ ne mu. That's why sɛ ɔyɛ parent. That's why sɛ ɔyɛ mother, ɔyɛ father, ɔyɛ babysitter, ɔyɛ guardian, ɔyɛ na, ɔyɛ nanny, ɔyɛ whatever. Ɔno a ɔtete ba no ɔno a ehu adokoro no they are living their fears and it's so easy to project those fears onto the child ti akwadaa no nya kwanya so be try biribi now they are not allowed to because maame na papa no na they ɔtete ba no suro sɛ no kɔyɛ wei ne sɛ because ɔno ehu na ɛhyɛ ne mu no ɔhun sɛ saa hu no na ɔyɛ de o project. And then pempi wobɛkɔ no environment ɔtena mu nyine yɛ fie a ofiri mu no that same trait no na ɔmo passing it down so until so recognize say if you had the say nyinaa sɛbi yɛyɛ din yɛ bɔmbɔm yɛnyɛ that active you say unless I'm not saying say obi yɛ din a sɛbi not just say ɔyɛ bomb no but obi wɔ ɔno agye tum say I'm not really pulling menyɛ biribiara and a harding. So imagine say mamia or punishing a bar for talking back and our papa say me kasa den na kasa. And this is very very common in our cultural setting. Say papa mami kasa you don't have to talk back. And akolebi owa obe realize say na silence and yet the same as yemi papa can who have daddy why shouldn't I do this mommy why shouldn't I do this madam ma'am why can't I do this it's because I say so Because I say so is not a reason. So wo kanti obi wa betima bo akola na manate ade bi ase. Edu ba bi na say hu say akola no provi stubborn ade a wo ye ne nye. I was a wotia no tene na. Yes, you have to go ahead and do that. It doesn't mean say jano ana shano kutupa emane say. So that's not what we're saying. 2020 Journal of Child Psychology Study. HSA and peniful repeating at least one parenting behavior from omu mami. It could be a phrase, it could be an act, it could be a behavior, it could be anything. Obi kra wadwin po emaso. Mekai be a one mami te or comment and send be otaka. It could be oh papa or nana. Certain out in will be back can be baby. Usually obey ye grabber wadwin grandma so say I deal with me can be you and I deal with me ye be you. But the question is it good? If it's good, bingo, just go ahead and do it. But if it's bad, then you have to drop it. Because and yes, I also pass it on to your kids. I almost saw this ebeko anymore. Now, I bisa said dear crying it me my repeat near my a hetting. They say I go through particular situation and a circumstance. It wasn't nice, it wasn't good. I was hurt. And the funny or the saddest part is if you don't heal, you bleed on those around you. Bit my own, bit my own, bit my family. Go through certain trauma, certain experiences. Now where healing. Now the the beginning be parent. What to tell my easy. Because omu momo na bebre. The nsɛm bi a wobɛka kyerɛ wɔn bi kɔ akwadaa bi hyɛ wɔ bufu a instead sɛ wobɛtɔ wo no you say a whole lot by wayward psychological and emotional roots because most of the time we revert to what is familiar under stress. To imagine say obi koraa go through situation a nneɛma mu yɛ den kakra ma no nneɛma bi nkɔ yie ne ade a look at the things we resort to nti yɛbɛkɔ with nneɛma a ɛyɛ familiar. Tis a me go through yaw be ma me penny ma kasa about yaw videos about yaw and you about yaw. Send a bear a bit to me are connected with that particular feeling at that moment. So that is neurobiology. I think that has a scientific root. And parents, we parent how we were parented until say what Tima recognize ya breaking some of these parental cycles we're talking about. Because if you don't know, you can't change what you don't know or what you don't accept. Ti say "Wunima," how do you break it? Because you have to recognize it to break it. And if you are parented in a way, one say you are not the best version of you. You don't really bask in the confidence, bask in all the good stuff I'll pay. If that is the case, then that's a problem which you need to deal with. So there be your own project is on your kids. Own project is on those people, the people around you. To imagine so be or her say they are always negative. Like I mean a real pessimist. Bibia ni wa obeka che na obeka se o minia ade we de ebe ye. Ade we de yen try and take a risk. Yes, things happen and it might be falling in place. But a chance to learn or to unlearn. If we fail, we get some lessons and build on it. So there's a chance to do that. Utie ye na kwenye obi a why you ready to take a risk? Why you ready to try stuff? Obe challenge you ma why. Saving crowd wonye why you so be. No be obebu wa bemu so de oh. No matter what you do, they are going to discourage you. So imagine when man breaky that cycle. No the so the kotite ma. Look at what you're going to pass on or transition from one to them. The reason why it's important to break this parental cycle. Said baby or the free banning ya now when who pass it the end no crowd without knowing. But on who say the enema me yeah me go through it. There are some I don't like. and me who say baby I'm free no and I'm a picky. So who admit here, then definitely you can just go ahead and work on them. And so Washa and Pempi, most fathers, most mothers, Obeka say me experience me situation in tea. Me person me chite me ma kwan bi say so. Or because of what I went through, I don't want my case to go through that. To be or go through experiences be ma. Or no one who say nah, this wasn't right. And to be trying the best, say the be ya ne ma out there and go through similar thing. That means that person has recognized and acknowledged those patterns and those cycles. I who say enye no working on it. The benefit is or the coaching kola beno a bit more man kola and go through similar thing. So that is one thing and also yeah can asem. Another thing is people hurt people hurt people. Obi oha yaw ni nneɛma ɛkɔ so wɔ ne mu no obi okra onhu die nti ɛwɔ sɛ obi amanfoɔ ani gye amanfoɔ yɛ okay abra will go through certain things but if those unsolved trauma ne wɔ ne mu a possibilities of hurt obi ne bi ne high and like you said hurt people and it's sad but that is the truth and try to get help if you need to have those traumas resolved, if you need to talk to somebody, obi oho a fear or team say parenting here is so strict. You don't even have the chance to talk. And Tiabasa lower confidence. Somehow you fearful. No, I mean we are scared. We are timid. Because we be one be shut you. We be one be shut you. Because it was oh and so my year free or me okay yeah there society has some notions that say oh money a week which is not true because in Kolabi or yes and yeah hey if they're able to get some principles as early at the early stages or as early as possible to me build it on it. Yes, kids will always be kids. Yes, you say whatever you want to say. But the way you know, and no, mostly omushe. And if you say one thing and do another, they will end up doing what you do and not what you say. Timen kanche say omushe from abra wo sro. Ten kanche oba say obi behwehwe o. Kache ne se mini ho. Kache say me si o mini ho. Tiabasa, imagine that child will never trust you because you are teaching them how to lie. So if that's a nice way to tell them, but not to allow them to lie. So because and they are confident, they are bold, and in that same regard, people think they are spoiled. But ne kasa omo ka bi ni nyina na sebi negative. Be why yes, it's in the right cause and it need to be supported. That is another thing. So imagine say papa was unable to express him or herself because of the childhood. Imagine on also be what do you think you'll be able to have that emotional expression and connection with neighbor? I don't think that the dad will be able to do that because on no son when you that chance. Because it would you to me no papa dinkomo. Yeah, brain no nantisa. Yeah, things have changed. And if things change, you try your best to change accordingly. So the fact that me no papa dinkomo in say mem on any papa so day NDM komo. So that is very, very important. And yeah, bit memory another starts on a developing child. For example, caregivers, and there are some behavioral traits and other important things that So we'll go into some of those things. And before we even do that, you have to ask yourself certain questions. You can self-reflect or do some self-inquiry questions about, well, just to help you know that, do I really have this? And if they are bad, do I need to break them so that I don't pass them on to anybody around me? It could be my ma, it could be anybody, it could be kids I'm taking care of, or those around you. Then what did I crave as a child that I didn't receive? Mr. Brana Miswane de Pana Nankabinyana mepe. Amen Sanka. So if you're able to know those things, say be I'll be ben no ye be. So okay, is it for the good cause? Do I have to let them do it? Another one example I remember towards this self-reflection question here, technology and more devices, niche screen, gadgets are part of us. Should you allow your kids to be on gadgets? Should you allow your kids to use technology, computers, gadget, tablets, phones? The answer is yes. Because if you don't let them use it now, a time will come, they will be obsolete. Because things are changing, things are moving forward. But it has to be in a controlled manner. And yes, moment you soon there are so many ways to control them, to control those things. And yeah, easy. Yep. The encolade be hard, they are super smart. Omukra ni muchen. Ma many papa for now who try to be more chance and more use, you know. So if you don't have the chance, or if you don't have the knowledge, you can get help from people. But help them learn and use it for the right things. Instead of say obija or mona they be almost social media based they get used to gadgets. Name no some of the swan a be good and near ebe boa nice. And I discuss about tech addiction. Tonya Kwaya, you can watch some of those videos and see how the strategies are over to me a employer only addicted to those texts and as a oma nankola fear how measures I'll be putting in place just to control some of those things. So all those are very important things you need to do. Yes, allow them to use it, but in a very controlled manner. I need to say what social media be scrolling. Maybe we your attention span I have very small. There be almost dopamine hit. What take it from now? They don't want to do anything. And a hard dream will stay on this gadget. A big crowd to me delay almost speech, almost social interaction. They are bad because they are just looking at screens. They don't want to play with other kids. Or they almost call baby. You have to give them phone. If not, they will never be okay. So those are the things we are talking about. So if you are self-reflecting, no bisa, then sanka. Do I fall into that category? If the answer is yes, what can I do about it, and how can I help those I will be raising? And that is one thing you have to take into consideration. What am I doing that feels expected, not natural? People will always expect you to do something. Society, your family, your friends, your culture. So many people, the expectations are so much. And the question is, am I doing that because I doing things because it feels expected and not because those are natural and those are the things you want to do? And yeah, Kasa about the importance of being you on this platform too. So yes, be you. Yeah, Edding. So we don't since hundi and try say how I we don't even allow our kids to be. So imagine say oba and I'll be our no like, oh, you're very vocal or per questions bisa make us also a bit reserved. And uhun so jano kasa kasa ni idea or hard drain or per questions and maybe you can find a way to control that. But ujano no kosa ha. The question is, saa na wopɛ sɛ wɔyɛ anaa adeɛ a wohu sɛ akwadaa no deɛ na bi kora yɛ talent ɛyɛ skill bi a woahu ne ntɛm wɔtumi identify na at that early stage no wobɛboa shape that talent. And mostly parents think ɔmbɛtumi ayɛ ɔmo mma sɛnea ɔmo pɛ. Yes, it takes the glory of God, or it takes God to help you do that. You're supposed to shape them into their purpose. Because akwadaa biara nipa biara wɔ botaeɛ a Nyankopɔn de ne baeɛ. It is a unya chance and you'll be na de ne ba gya while ba na wotete no. That moment, you have an opportunity to make an impact in that child's life. And it can be good, it can be bad. So make sure you don't bring on any cycle that will impact them adversely. So unya kwenya so how you go about that in order not to do anything negative later. And do I parent out of fear, guilt, or image? This is a very good question. So if you're a parent, you're a babysitter, you're a nanny, you're guidance, ask some of these questions. Are you parenting out of fear, out of guilt, or image? Do yeah, say the way out to tell man, say oh, I'm sorry for why are dear made it? Be all what they say, but that doesn't mean maybe that's what you want. But also see a bit judge you. To be try a point ma obi koye ade a obi di ye ni nya kra wo say akla no I can tell ne ho stand for himself. Also ye din because you say so. Yes, because you are doing it for the fear, the guilt, and the image. So say if you are raising them in a way that is good, yes, that's a positive image. So go for that. Or try to help them like fend for themselves, to be independent, to learn to work with people when they need to be obedient. Very good, but not in a negative way. And we have some inherited beliefs. Said they can't yell and near their many papa mu how. And there are ways we can deal with this. So how do we break this cycle? Consciously and gently. That is very, very important. So we have to practice this. Pause, notice, redirect. So, yeah, akola, or bibi a umpe, utim se wa bufu a obetinye tiema. So you pause, yes, you notice and redirect. And this will take about 3 seconds. How that 3 seconds of pausing, noticing, and redirection could calm you down. So instead of yelling, one way you call animal training, which is sad. Because in Bengobo, parent they think they are training their kids, but their kids end up training them. But video, the kids will be making fun of you. So that mommy, daddy, dear, and your babysitter, and na a guardian, they be saying no. So that shouldn't be the case. And a parent from your healed self. So if you are parenting, make sure you are healed first, and you are parenting from that healed self. Yes, oh yeah, oh nema oh mua. Also, they think kola sebi emwa. Because they won't heal ya. Definitely, you are going to bleed on them, and you definitely pass those things. And you can do affirmations because you can never go wrong with affirmations. It works. I'm allowed to parent differently. And yes, you'll be a yena, also ye be. So the way you want your kids, you want to raise them, the way you want to connect with them, bond with them, have time for them might be different from Obi. Because Obi or her or person on it, and society or culture or the people will expect you to also do things in a particular manner. So if you want to raise your kids differently, it doesn't mean anyone say, oh yeah, yes. So if you're able to define these generational parenting cycles, no who say yeah, also be free. So instead of teaching we're punishing, instead of teaching silencing emotions, using fear for control. And the thing is, it's not a connection, not controlling. Say now, say, we can't say, I can't say. So those are some of the things we don't have to probably do. And we have to have reparenting tools. Like I said, emotional compassion. You have to also learn. The fact that when you need doesn't mean learning stops. You have to keep going. You have to keep learning. Also, if you need to seek help as a parent, say, I really need to do something about it. So if I have to go see a therapist, I need to do that. So I'm projecting here, maybe I will and send me project on me, which is very key. And self-aware parents always reduce child stress by 75%, which is according to developmental psychology. So we a parent now, we are self-aware. Definitely you will not stress your child because we name the various stages and color go through to what the any of those stages. It be that time simulation stage. The brain develop we do reasoning stage or baby questions. The of free whole transition about teenage behaviors to say. Since you are learning, you don't stress the kid because they do on home. Really also where they they were now big survivor. Because I'm training say oh yeah hard oh yeah say. But the question is, akwala nas at that time the I didn't cry so we or TSA. On TSA, that means you have to find a better way to do it instead of ocean so. Until I think one joining a High Hope for Life radio. Open so phone in and now they were doing share bar. Obey my friend 703 565 2360 703 565 2360. In case I want go through any parenting cycle, be a one who say, I deal with it. Send a mate to me, man, I made think me as a result of entity be a minya. Patch over to my mama who comment section ho. So what joining life my mente wonka. Say later so on joining only live, not later on your quenya video. Obeta my who wa dwenkyerɛ ɛwɔ ase ho. If it's any na and parents is who esua. There are books nowadays. I think it's a bit easy with internet. What you mean, your content on YouTube, on different platforms. Which about parenting styles, how to connect with your kids, how to bond, how to do so many things. About what me are raising my senior ope. What my purpose Yankopon de boom no wa shaping into that. Na ne nyinaa no, you don't forget to also pray for them. Nti, a higher hope for life radio said the sky is the limit. Mefa kwanya yada yetiefo bi mo ase. Kwame Poku Yankopon ensure say wa joining Daniel Tete Hansen. Baby a wo bia no Yankopon ensure say wa joining a ohwe your life. Mo nso ama joining your YouTube nyinaa yɛka sɛ twɛde ampɔ onyankopɔn ɔnhyira mo sɛ da biara monya berɛ ɛne yɛdi saa adwuma yi. Ɛyɛ ɔmo nso a ɔma joining yɛn live ɛyɛ Chase baabi a wɔ biara Chase 5 nyankopɔn ɛnhyira wo. Man Papino, I see you watching. God richly bless you for joining and supporting. And Bracy also joining from North Carolina, baby Obiano, Yankopon and Shao. And I'm sister Kisi, also Taechi Pampe. God richly bless you for supporting this program. Yeah, my brother Ericus on any wife Trudy. Baby Obia, so God richly bless you. And yeah, my sister Kiasewa on any Hokeni Isaiah also Yankopon and Shamu. Kwame Musa mini amete onka ache o se kasa e peta ni program ye Victor abode so ba bia obi a yakopon sha kobiko oso sa mete onka ache pa mbem repair me o se itimi connect na ye din komo ye obi bia se bi ma modi a che se mani de esaw mama bo amadwumadi na koso ye Chris ye Isaac ye me ame brother Kingsley yakopon ensha na na ye mampo ma misro ma mete onka che So baby I will be no Yankopon and shout Danny also Yankopon and shout. I'm say also ye de dwumadie no bi ehyehyɛ so sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ a yɛbɛtumi amatiefoɔ asua about mental health yɛrɛ ɛmfii nti yɛntie deɛ ɔbɛde ɛne ɔbrafoɔ ɛka kakra.
Kɛseɛ de ma ne mmaa wɔ kristoni ho ntɔn ne deɛ a wɔda wɔ na
Okristoni deɛ ɔho ntɔ wɔ a wosi dɛ da ho da.
wɔtoo me pono matamfo ni mmɛmmerɛ a mennie ne da so wɔsɔ me nsa de me twapo kɔkɔɔ wɔnya me kwan so sɛ
Oh, sɛnea ɔka no ɔso wɔto ne pono wɔ n'atamfoɔ anim ɛberɛ a wonni anidasoɔ na so Nyankopɔn ɛngya wo ɛmfa ho ne challenges a wo go through with the parenting Nyankopɔn ɛho mmɔbɔ na ɔmmoa wo ɛtumi tete wo mma ebi mu sɛ Nyankopɔn ɛwɔ adom na wo mma so ɔmmra ɛyɛ wo sɛ wonim ba teteɛ and it takes a village to raise a child very true but ɛnnɛ no nneɛma kakra asesa wohwɛ the way first no na that sense of community yet tibom extended family system ebusuafie obiara ba yɛ obi yɛ no aduane a yɛ nyinaa yɛdi bom ne ade na asesa ɛnna obi kora te obi ba no wanya asɛm ade akora yɛ nyɛ wokɔ poli ne kakra bi a ne maame komune a ne bu befu papa komune a ne bu befu saa dɛ na woyɛ sei nti obiara sɛ akɔyɛ more of a nuclear family ɛna me ne me yere ne me mma so obi kra correct obi ba akora ne yɛ adeɛ nya wo kana if finding it so difficult because onim sɛ ɛba ne saa ne maame ɛba abɛyɛ dɛ ɛba abɛbu ne bu bɛba abɛfu anaa papa no bu ɛbɛba aba abɛfu which is not really good nti yɛto adwumadie ne so yɛde aseda soronko ɛma Obapa Ventures sɛ wo ne yɛdi dwuma yi a wobɛhu sɛ Obapa Ventures yɛ proud sponsor Oboa ma yɛtumi de abrabɔ mu nsɛm Life Matters bro every Tuesday evening 7 p.m. Obapa Ventures ɛwɔ nneɛma papa a yɛde di dwuma biara program bi a wopɛ sɛ woyɛ biara mehyerɛ wo wode frɛ Obapa no wode ka kyerɛ ne kɛkɛ sɛ Obapa dwuma wei na mepɛ sɛ medi ɔbɛma wo ho aka deɛ biara wo hia or ɛfa kente ɛfa mpaboa ɛfa lace ɛfa authentic drinks ɛfa nnuane ɛfa sandals bibia yɛde yɛ dwumadie bi a yɛyɛ yie deɛ mesrɛ look no further Obapa Ventures mbra mbɛsom wokɔ na so yɛ a ɔbɛtumi ahwɛ wo kama wobɛtumi afrɛ no wɔ 571-278-8663 571-278-8663 and I'll bet me email no babradochum@gmail.com Facebook so obehono Obapa Ventures the Facebook we Obapa Ventures so the name ni be a go name kama so obetimi ahwe no ho and Instagram so Obapa for real the handle your Obapa for real obetimi search obenya bi ama kama and TikTok so the handle your at Obapa Mami Owusua at Obapa Mami Owusua obetima contact no obeboa ama oniema kama or in and around the US house shepiko every state to friend na so obeyo kama ti me so for Obapa no show kama why na ode masida ne mebo ebeba bebre mi ye to adwumadie no so a no yankopon enhyira obi
yeah, we need that one so table time why you be paying what that's switching and the naso and for we need to yasi when young upon the tiasi we didn't even share some previous and we need the grass the pabestro na when you should cry na ye chewasi need the name of bunko to jack as senya memedas send your cassia to be better in tino and so check the brave battle so kai baby I will fino ya chida would do see be fear and so what down with chino the vampire when sabaka would dear with yes to demo over the palm
so I know the beba na ma wa ba mu dina pindi na ma wa kuma ye wa
I tell for your trial hon ye to adwumadie ni so sesia no ye share how to break the cycle baako ne sɛ bi a wow no wonim sɛ wode nneɛma bi ɛkɔ a ɛnyɛ good a there are things you should ask yourself. You don't have to be perfect to break the cycle. You just have to be aware. Sɛ menim sɛ adeɛ wei deɛ ɛnyɛ nti ɛwɔ sɛ metumi gye mu sɛ de bɛyɛ a memfa saa so ne bi mma me ba sɛ adeɛ bi wɔ ho sɛ adeɛ wei deɛ ɛnyɛ a how do you make sure you don't pass it on to your child? T1 awareness. Yep. And your perfection. Knowing it is the most important thing. And you have to ask yourself, you have to be genuine, you have to be real with yourself. What patterns am I ready to release? We was, oh, we the sana, yeah, no, we the sana, my sana. So if you always say, me the sana, yeah, the say, na a habit na ye canning yan the pa, does that mean there's no room for change? Sana, why, no, and more, must you continue to do that? Sana, we, no, enko ya, enye good say, obey. So me deɛ saa na mete o. Saa na wote na adeɛ no nya. Sɛbi, wotumi nyɛ biribi mfa ho ana. Wode koraa deɛ wahu sɛ adeɛ no nyɛ. Ɛna still gu so yɛ. Nyankopɔn ma ɛhu yɛ mmɔbɔ na ɔma yɛ nte aseɛ. Ɛfiri sɛ yɛhu no deɛ a, ɛwɔ sɛ yɛtumi yɛ biribi fa ho. What parent do I want to be remembered as? Te sɛ mehwɛ me mma anaa metete nkɔlaa ama ɔmo nyini a, how do I expect them to remember me as? Because babysitter way there, oh yeah, fantastic. I got to learn this habit, this traits, this emotional stuff from him, from her. And your parent now many say mini ye din komwe. Is I said dear now the kai mommy, a dear now the kai papa. Parenting now the ma no saying a comb. So they make an and you'll be an as be on any mammy any papa net tonight. Any part to will be over Okoshian for through life and with life things happen. Tibisa said, how do you want to be remembered as? Do you want to be remembered as a bad, scared, yelling, angry mother, or a nice, compassionate, caring, well-connected father? It's up to you. That's why I'm saying be fair to yourself, be very frank with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. And once you reflect, you do this final reflection, then you have to probably act on it. So, call to action after asking these questions, which is very, very important. And a very nice experience. So, and now better tinkola, a bedroom state B. Then kola be so proud of you. You'll be proud of yourself too. You'll be proud of them. Nti no ena yeguso twa and common. Because there are things you may have inherited from your parent, but you do not want to pass it on. Yes, the be how say are they with me nya frame me mama obi nya frame me papa o. But enya dia me pese be come ma ho. And if you're able to break those things, recognize them first and break them, it will help. Until like back home they yelling part na hear me. So we think, oh, you're team. So take break, pause, breathe, and know the triggers. Sometimes and then the trigger mass ultimate team and I'm calling to me what dear be ama would you wenge. I dear who cry say parents be more timmy call to the extent say omo kesi omuma. And now caregivers. And now say even babysitters be more timmy call to the extent say omo kesi kolano because of how they make them feel. Atete ne nneɛma a wɔde wɔn fam nsɛm a wɔka no nyɛ nsunsuaso wɔ nkɔlaa no so. It is only nkɔlaa na ɛwɔ hɔ a mesrɛ wo na wahwɛ w'ano kasa yie. Sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ a wonkɔ go through nneɛma a ɛbɛtumi ama waka nsɛm bi a ɛbɛha nkɔlaa no. See, if you need to reparent yourself, yes, you better do. So you can, if you also repair with your child. The akɔlaa no yɛ na woboa no na waaso de yɛ wo ho aduru. Nti mɛmma akɔlaa no mu no mparente wo. So that is one thing that need to do. And a language shift said you can something like because I say so. So let's talk about why. TWR make us raising collab with raising. Yes, they might not be like although they might not be ready to understand, but they'll know why do we do this, Obeka? Why is this done? So with time they will come to understand. And that is very, very important. instead of, oh, because I say so. So you say so, akolani ntiase. Whether say be, it make it meaning. And then in society, we were like kind of penny in before. Tisa be penny be ya dear, I won't say, I dear way dear. I touch him a cra. We are called come pet when you say, because you say penny and you end before. It's a choir, or say, who, or church, or cano. You have to be also very, very careful. Don't just say because I say so. And I'm me and I'm in Pesame. That is one talk. I don't know how it came about. Oh, Jai, me a day, me pay a man and me person Jai. So you are acting just based on emotions or feeling. So it be a Jai. Because when Jaya, Bibi say, Nipa to the old can say make it sense. Why not? Beginning or year, say, oh, Kolana cry and funny enough. They remind each other. Because oh, mommy say my say. And I so said daddy say, and I miss I say me say ya oba catch you. Nikwan say we say. So they understand. And with time they come to understand and practice and know the meaning, the reasons behind whatever they do. So that is very, very important. And another real life example that replaces what silence with vulnerability. Yes, we ding. You want to say we are vulnerable, so you have to start talking, and it helps. And emotional regulation in parents boosts emotional health in children. It is oh no, papa na mommy na caregiver na babysitter no. If you are emotionally aware, if you have that emotional intelligence, since you already have it, it becomes easy to pass it on. Very, very, very easy to do that, which is another key thing. And you have to encourage emotional expression. So if you have a cycle where emotional expression is not encouraged and it forces resilience and empathy, doesn't mean you are weak. You are not weak. To yes, encourage that. Bibi hankola na momuntimi ne won kasa. And just don't dismiss the emotions. So you can be bill piano kola na opekasa na kwanu tum na o say na. Ebeka show so after the bibi how I want me control be a bio. And we think kids don't also have emotions, they don't have this mental trauma, they don't have mental health. They do. And okay, the way parents be taking spare the rod and spoil the child, as in the Bible, no, or more interpretation in the one mama. We say, be na anointing. And the culture, when they say, oh, raise you ma with empathy, on your kai here, or say, oh. But like I said, parent on your own terms, make sure they are good. And you have every right to parent differently. And I was say, be all dear. And I can't yelling and a transformation from yelling to empathic conversation. If you need to talk to them, connect with them, draw them close, talk to them, but they will listen and they will always love you for that. And like we can't earlier, if they are remembering you, they are definitely not going to forget about that part. And our emotional patterns internalized by age 7 become default. Tia sɛ wotete nkɔlaa na sɛ ɔmo nneɛma a ɔmo betumi apeke with the emotions no by 7 years no ɛyɛ na ɛyɛ den sɛ ɔmo bɛsesa because ɛno bɛyɛ default. Sɛnea yɛka sɛ sometimes training or more programming. Like I didn't want to use the word programming, but that it is what it is. And if that program is not gotten right, attitude formation takes time, and then the changes will take time to change. It takes a while because if you need to have them reprogram their mind, even like the Bible says, but I say you have to have renewal against satra. So you have to go through that change, and it takes a lot of time. It takes longer for them to be able to do that. So if you are not able to affirm your child, just like his father, imagine, say, Papa, or maybe you are on timing yet a man home pona sebi or hesse ne bamboo a bit my when something like that happens a hardening and let's try not to do that. And why do we even want to repeat any my this emwa? If I didn't more, please don't let us do it. Yeah, and drop it. So we can get the best for our kids. And our kids will thank us. Because the older better tell man, and then also better tell mama. And a better if we have any unsolved dramas, unsolved traumas, if we have emotional baggages we are carrying, let's find a way to heal. If we haven't already, find a way to heal so that we don't pass them on to our kids. We want our kids to be the best we can. Co-parenting takes a lot. We are say what to think there be say you have to keep learning to even cry near my mu or be assisted with so many things. They ask a lot of questions. And yes, you can't have answers to all those questions, but you do your best to learn as much as you can to better understand them and to connect with them. And the most important thing, connect before correction. So if we only think about the correction, punishment part without connection, they become totally isolated. So, or in any way control to you. And they be emotional, they are off. They are living with fear. And the fear is even used for control. To be the who show more, it can't be any they wouldn't do it. But not the reason behind the omoye. Because me say because that is my me yeah a bebo me. Tiboa a bebo no reason it on fine. But with time no baba betia say okay. Oh yeah me say because wanya weni besi. The maka reason natural no say still wanya mebo. I think I've gone one step further because my car reason. I call out there fine. You can not 23. Seven penny for crying ahead. So you have to keep reinforcing that. I'm repairman say you need be early childhood expect a bedding common what mama about how those kind of training in terms of attitude formation, or more brain, or more actions, or more attitude, all those things no eba into play till say when be drew certain age and no be a basis and now foundation they can build on. So that is one thing at the right time, the baby. And somebody here criticizes what, like I'm saying, don't be cursing your kids. Can't say much. I say the be a baby, better can be a bully, but be dear just saying so we need that. Don't be doing that unintentionally. I'll criticize say the no I say no you say no, it doesn't help. Find a way. If they do something, commend them. Also reward you in a nice way. More enjoy. Yes, to spend time with them. Some people are totally disconnected. Or no, they just say we are juma pet. They are so much attached to their babysitters. They are so much attached to their nannies more than their real parents. About are definitely those bonding no about natural, and that is what they're going to live with. Say yes, connecting more. So let's also try our best to spend time with our kids. Let's spend time with our people and not just work. Yeah, you just can't time yeah, juma pesca. Sometimes it's not what you want, but try your best and do what will make you and the kids and whoever you're taking care of happy. Because at the end of the day, yes, you are there to work, but make sure you are remembered for something good. And if you are remembered as something, it has to be something that is a good thing. And yes, Kai will say, oh, the Biano, on our day, what team. He said, I'm a kind. This episode is not about blaming our parents. Yes, they had their challenges. They say beginning them move ma who sa na me make sure say it be any day and me passing it on to me ma. So if I can reverse those scripts or choose the ones I want to rewrite, it's perfectly up to me. And yeah, there will be biase. I'm saying no, yes, ma be brave. Yes, about breaking parenting cycles. We didn't even know we inherit. Ebi na yɛde yɛbɔ boss no. Ebi wɔ hɔ a parenting no. Yɛtumi de fa different ways. Go out to count who can say me and nneɛma bi unconsciously. Say wehu. And there are cycles. Be more yɛbɔ boss so. Be more to say yelling when why overwhelmed. And a tough love. Something like withholding perfection or affection. And expecting perfection or obedience over connection. The SOD so Kolani doesn't have a say. Yeah, this may say emotions, all that. And then Yabo body be so how I beat me a breaky. And Yema I was a questions so be sound home. They said dear Yema na me raise almost said and for expect ya na send me person raise almost. And I said Yankopon and boom. But I didn't hear pan. Spend time with your kids. Pray for them and pray with them. Help them learn as much as they can. Because the time on one a brown money woy. A be a very short time. Or no matter and you will start missing them. So please, if you have the chance, don't take it for granted. Spend that quality time with them, and they will forever remember you. And they remember you for the right reasons. Ahana Brebema Pioneer di Nejumedi no esi. Also for Barimaba Kodua and I'm metana say to train komo about breaking parental cycles. We didn't even know we inherited. So yabubo ho and komono. Nti Nyankopon enhwa obi so nya brani yedi dwumai. Yese nyame se na otwe id anim so onsan fa yentwa. Onfa yenko. Oma enema boni bia ento ye onhwe yen so. So de be ya da se ne ye be se share bi. Yes, the topic for frame mu hwama da bia betimanya bibia sua ewo mu no. Ade abeto apaso na yedi ho nkomo. O ma me hu adwenkyere e wo comment section ni. Ma mo join ye nyina Nyankopon enhwa mo. Nyumo yesi na wante menka bi ma makramo. Na me nhwa obibia.
Ni hutu na ni nyame so ade nyina di buano. Ewie ni ye. So we no de beba na ma wa ba mu. Dina pindi na ma wa kumentu. Ye wadi ni hutu na ni nyame so ade nyina di buano. Ewie ni ye.
Looking for someone to take your sorrows all away, one to hold you.